Chapter 2. His second flight to the sun was a more sober one. Things had changed from his last adventure. The previous journey was born out of blissful ignorance, and this time, the thirst for knowledge was the driving force. He had gone to challenge the last time, he wished to submit this time. What was once a conquest was now an act of seeking forgiveness. Surya, the sun god, panicked seeing him again. He still remembered the trauma of being swallowed up and rendered helpless for several hours. The unpleasant memory was still fresh in his mind. Who would forget humiliation, especially if it happened just once in one's entire lifetime? But when he looked carefully, he saw that the boy was standing with his hands folded in supplication. The sun god was surprised. In a voice filled with genuine humility, Hanuman spoke, "Respected Suryadev, I have heard that you are the world's best teacher. Sages from all over the universe come to your school to receive education. Would you be kind enough to admit me also to your school? I am eager to gain knowledge. I am prepared to face all challenges and hurdles." His attitude touched the master. Such students were rare to find. In fact, it was in his search for such diligent students the sun god had started teaching. Right in the midst of his busy service of traveling around the universe offering sunlight. The sun god took up a second optional vocation of teaching because of his passion for imparting knowledge to deserving candidates. Though he was happy to admit Hanuman to his school, there was a slight problem. The admissions were full. He had begun a new batch with thousands of sages as fresh admissions. Since the only classroom in this school was his own chariot, just a limited number of students could be accommodated in his divine vehicle. And by this time, he had already reached the upper limit and there was no room for more. When he presented this problem to Hanuman, he just smiled. Where was the problem? When the lessons began that day, the students in the classroom were shocked. There was a new student in class. No, that was not the cause of surprise. The shock was the new student wasn't sitting in the classroom, he was standing outside. As the classroom moved, so did the new student. He was flying at the speed of the chariot, while listening to the sun god's lecture simultaneously. Amidst movements and rounds of shifting, Hanuman did not miss a single word that was being imparted and remained focused. At some point, Hanuman became a little uncomfortable with the thought that while all the other students could see the face of their teacher, he had to fly parallel to the classroom. Thinking this to be a breach of etiquette, Hanuman turned around, faced the teacher and began flying backwards. The students were stunned, yet again. How could someone fly backwards and be so attentive at the same time? Within the 60 orbits of the sun, Hanuman studied all the Vedas proficiently. The sun god did not have to repeat even a single word. Every word that he spoke was permanently etched in Hanuman's mind. The sun god was extremely impressed with his new student and embraced him and blessed him. Being grateful to his teacher for allowing him to study under his tutelage, Hanuman wanted to offer his master guru Dakshina, formal expression of gratitude to a teacher. The sun god said, "Hanuman, I am very impressed with your abilities, intelligence and your humble demeanor. I have never seen a student like you. If at all you wish to offer me guru Dakshina, please do me a favor. My son Sugriva is in hiding. Bali has unjustly kidnapped his wife and kicked him out of his kingdom. The helpless Sugriva has taken shelter at the Mount Rishimukha to avoid facing Bali, since that is the only place on earth which is inaccessible to Bali. My son needs your able guidance. If you want to please me, I urge you to become Sugriva's minister and help him regain his kingdom." The sun god never had to say anything twice to Hanuman. The monkey god now stood as a wall between Sugriva and Bali. Not just a wall, but a fort. A flying kick. "Why are you shivering like this?" He was surprised to see an absolutely normal person, suddenly, shivering like a dry leaf in the winds. When no answer came from him, except for 2 drops of tears, Hanuman turned towards his 3 friends. Even the friends just looked down and seemed too ashamed to even answer this question. This was weird. Why would 4 powerful Vanaras, who were extremely well built and intelligent, behave like emotional, unconfident children? He kept questioning them and they kept turning away from him. Then, suddenly, it happened. Krackkkk. Hearing the sound, Hanuman turned to see Sugriva reeling in pain on the ground. All his friends were helping him recover. Hanuman just couldn't get it. What's going on here? What was that sound? How did Sugriva fall on the ground? Why was he holding his head in pain? Why were his friends unsurprised about the incident, almost as if expecting it to happen as part of the daily routine? By this time, Sugriva had recovered and he sat up. Still holding his head, he spoke. Hanuman, this happens 12 times, daily, at defined intervals. What happens, Sugriva? Speak clearly. Hanuman was intrigued by this untoward episode. My father, Surya, must have surely told you the story of my brother throwing me out of my kingdom and kidnapping my wife. But I don't think he would have shared another part to this story because it is too embarrassing for him as a father to come to terms with it. My brother, Bali, is cursed by Rishi Matanga that if he sets his feet on Mount Rishimuka, his head will crack open. That is the only reason I am still alive. Though the curse has saved my life, Bali has found his way to continue insulting and torturing me daily without even stepping on this hill. Sugriva started shivering once again. It's time. It's time. Sugriva was stammering in utter fear. Hanuman turned away in disgust for a second. In that split second, something happened. Krackkkk. From the corner of his eyes, Hanuman could see that something had hit Sugriva on his head. Sugriva was on the floor, writhing in agony. Hanuman understood the seriousness of the matter that had to be handled with intelligence. He went and sat next to him to hear the complete story. Every day, Bali offers his oblations in the 4 oceans, to Surya, my father. With one leap he reaches from the southern ocean to the northern one and in another leap to the east and then to the west. Each time he leaps, he makes sure he passes over Mount Rishimuka and delivers a kick on my head and goes ahead. 3 times a day, I receive 4 flying kicks from my brother. Though I know the exact time of the kick, I can't do anything to protect myself. Though my friends know that I am tortured like this every day, they are equally helpless in front of Bali's power. His speed and power are unmatchable. Before we can even see him, he disappears. In fact, the entire Kishkinda quakes in front of the power of Bali. And Sugriva started trembling again. This time, Hanuman was ready. Suddenly, he saw Bali zoom down with great speed, transferring all his energy into his feet to power pack his kick. As soon as Bali's feet reached just above the Sugriva's head, Hanuman caught both his feet with a single hand. Sugriva, expecting a kick anytime soon, had closed his eyes and shrunk. But when nothing happened, he slowly opened his eyes to see Bali's feet, above his head, dangling in the grip of Hanuman. Bali was stunned by Hanuman's audacity. No one had ever underestimated his strength. He jerked his feet with a little force to compel Hanuman to let go. He held on. Now, Bali put all his force. Still, he held on. Bali wondered who this monkey was. That's when he saw the earrings made of 5 metals. He panicked. This was the very child he had tried to kill. He had heard of Hanuman's strength but never experienced it. By this time, Hanuman's grip on Bali's legs had intensified and it had begun to hurt Bali. Then Hanuman began pulling him downwards. Bali realized what he was attempting. He began to flutter at the very thought of it. He was somehow trying his best to get away from the grip of Hanuman, but all his might was betraying him. Even the boon that he had of acquiring half the strength of his opponent in one glance seemed useless. It had no effect on Hanuman. Soon, Sugriva and all the other monkeys realized what Hanuman was trying to do. They got excited and began to encourage Hanuman to throw Bali on the ground and allow his haughty head to crack. Understanding the precariousness of the situation, a helpless Bali began to plead with Hanuman. He promised never to return to Mount Rishimuka and trouble Sugriva. Considering his pitiful appeals, Hanuman let go. As Bali flew away, Hanuman realized this was not a permanent solution. A more tangible solution had to be found, or would the solution find them? When you kick others at their weak point, time is timing a painful kick at your strong point. The perfectionist beggar. Bali is back. A monkey came running at great speed and bumped into Hanuman. How could Bali return so soon? Hanuman rose up to face the lurking danger. The danger had brought Sugriva and his 4 close associates together at a short notice. They followed the direction of his fingers to the edge of the cliff. Below Mount Rishimuka were stationed 2 muscular, broad-chested men, holding bows in their hands and walking together. The other 4 wondered where Bali was. Trying to decipher their quizzical looks, Sugriva explained these 2 men had been sent by Bali to annihilate him. Looking at Hanuman, Sugriva instructed, "Go in disguise and ascertain who these 2 men are. If they are Bali's men, then let me prepare for my death. With powerful men as enemies, my survival is impossible. However, if they are not Bali's allies, then bring them to me. We should propose a pact of friendship and use them as instruments to crush Bali." Disguised as a Bhikshuk sannyasi mendicant, Hanuman walked down the hill towards the 2 handsome-looking ascetic warriors. Soon, he was standing in front of them. When he first gazed at them, something began to happen inside him. He felt that his bones were melting. He wasn't able to speak or even think for a while. He couldn't understand what was happening to him. Soon, recollecting the purpose of his visit, he began to speak. "Who are you, mighty heroes? Where are you heading? Though dressed as ascetics, your beauty and power would put the gods to shame. Seeing your mighty bows which resemble rainbows, who wouldn't be mesmerized? Confidence oozes out of your lion-like gait. You are destined to rule kingdoms, and not take on the role of ascetics. The combination of sweetness and power convinces me that you are extraordinary people here, on an extraordinary mission. Could I have the honor of knowing more about you?" Smiling at him, one of them spoke, "We will answer your questions soon. First tell us, how can a beggar with tattered clothes wear such a rare and precious diamond necklace?" As soon as Hanuman heard that question, he almost fainted with joy. He instantly recalled Lord Brahma's words he had heard in his childhood. This was his lord and master for whom he had waited all his life. As soon as this realization dawned on him, he shed his disguise and appeared in his original form. When asked for his introduction, Hanuman immediately announced, "I am Sugriva's minister." Upon uttering these words, he immediately realized he had committed a grave mistake. He noticed a slight movement. His lord had taken 1 step back and allowed his brother to step forward to introduce them. The brother spoke, "This is Rama, the son of King Dasharatha of Ayodhya. The world knows me as his brother, Lakshmana, but I consider myself to be his worthy servant. We have been exiled from our kingdom for 14 years and have spent our last 13 years in the forest of Dandakaranya. Unfortunately, Sita, Lord Rama's wife, has been kidnapped by a demon named Ravana, and we are here in search of her." Hanuman cursed himself for having declared himself to be Sugriva's minister. After hearing Lakshmana's humble introduction, he felt even worse. He decided to amend his mistake with time. Hanuman invited them to make an alliance with Sugriva, who was also in a similar situation. After having lost his wife and kingdom to Bali. When Hanuman stepped away for a moment to inform Sugriva of their arrival, Lord Rama analyzed the speech of Hanuman and shared his observations with Lakshmana. He said, "Did you hear Hanuman's speech? The charm of his voice was amazing. He used the right words at the right time. He was pleasing, gentle and had gravitas. The content of his speech comforted the heart. In order to speak like this, he must be well versed with the RG, Yajur and Sama Vedas. He couldn't have been this gentle had he not studied these Vedas. He must have learnt from able teachers. Knowledge of the RG Veda makes one humble and also gives one the power to recall and reproduce that. Knowledge of the Yajur Veda sharpens memory. Knowledge of the Sama Veda assures musical perfection and every word becomes like a song. Surely, he has perfected Vyakarana or grammar. There was absolutely no mistake in his joining of sentences. He spoke so much, yet, he did not use even one wrong word. His speech was so perfect that he began at a certain speed and volume and ended at the same speed and volume. He knew which words should be spoken from the stomach or pronounced from the palate and where to use the nose in his speech. While speaking, not for once there was a shift in his focus. Without a controlled mind, one cannot stop misusing words. His speech has the ability to win over an enemy armed with an upraised sword. If I get such a person as an associate, I can achieve success. Mounting on Hanuman's broad shoulders, Lord Rama and Lakshmana began their ascent to the peak of Mount Rishimuka. Both of them were deeply appreciative of this person. However, Hanuman was lost in thought, worried about rectifying the one mistake he'd made earlier in the day. He decided that sensitivity was the only way to deal with an insensitive mistake. He was ready for rectification as much as Sugriva was eager for confrontation. Under the watchful eyes of a genuine guide, one's pretensions melt and hidden qualities shape up. Speech is the air that brings out the odor of your heart. Fine speech with the right intention reveals an aromatic heart. Harsh speech with sarcasm denotes a smelly heart. Confused speech with denial of responsibility symbolizes a depressed heart. A friend's betrayal. As the three reached up the cliff, they were face to face with Sugriva, who stood with his hands on his hips, carefully observing the new entrance. Hanuman bent on his knees and allowed the brothers to unmount. The two parties were introduced to each other. Understanding Lord Rama's situation and clearly identifying with it, Sugriva extended his hand and welcomed Lord Rama as his newly found friend. Lord Rama gracefully accepted his reception and returned the gesture by extending his own hands. As they shook hands like long-standing friends, Hanuman shook his head in disgust. He was thinking, how could Sugriva not understand that Rama is their worshipable lord and shouldn't be treated as a mere friend? After giving them a tour of the scenic Mount Rishimuka, Sugriva brought them to the center of the mountaintop and pulled out a huge branch from a sal tree. Placing it down, he offered it as a seat for Lord Rama. Lord Rama obliged and sat on one side of the branch. Sugriva took his place on the other side, turning a blind eye to Lakshmana. Hanuman struck his head in disgust seeing this act of insensitivity. Even Lord Rama noticed this grave mistake and felt bad. Hanuman quickly jumped and pulled down the branch of a much better tree, a sandalwood tree. Placing it next to Lord Rama's side, he offered the seat to Lakshmana. As soon as Lakshmana seated himself, Hanuman sat on the floor next to Lakshmana. He didn't feel eligible to acquire a place beside Lakshmana, let alone occupy a place next to Lord Rama. Lord Rama was mighty impressed by Hanuman's sensitivity. To teach Sugriva a lesson in humility and also as punishment for disrespecting Lakshmana, Lord Rama sent Sugriva to fight Bali. The timid brother was brutally beaten up in the duel. Later, the excuse he gave for not being able to kill Bali was that the siblings looked similar. Lord Rama requested Lakshmana to garland Sugriva so that it could serve as a differentiator between the two brothers. When Sugriva bent to receive the garland from Lakshmana, Lord Rama considered that to be his act of forgiveness. This time, Lord Rama didn't allow Sugriva to suffer at the hands of Bali. With Bali becoming history, Sugriva was appointed the king of Kishkinda. With kingly power came kingly enjoyment and royal forgetfulness. Where power and sensitivity coexist, success and relationships live in harmony. A forgotten commitment. Come out, Sugriva, you foolish monkey. A ball of fire was swinging back and forth in front of Sugriva's palace. You ungrateful wretch, how can you enjoy yourself when your friend suffers? The soldiers of Sugriva didn't know how to respond to this person. They thought his confidence level was too high because he called their master by his first name, that too, casually. They decided to stay away from the king's personal matters, especially since the king was not responding at all. At least, he should have given them a signal what was expected of them. Initially, Sugriva avoided responding to the abuse, but when it was persistent he couldn't tolerate any more. It was a question of his repute in front of his subjects. From the corner of his bedroom window, when Sugriva glanced at Lakshmana, he understood his fury. In order to pacify an enraged Lakshmana, he sent the intelligent Tara. Tara did manage to control his temper. Once Lakshmana calmed down, Sugriva ventured forth. By this time, Hanuman had also joined them. Hanuman knew Lakshmana was a man of fewer words and more actions. If he were left to handle this alone, Sugriva would not stand a chance. Hanuman spoke to Sugriva, reminding him of his promise. He said, "For the last 4 months, Lord Rama has been patiently waiting for you to begin helping him. You have been enjoying in your palace with your wives, whereas Lord Rama has been suffering in isolation separated from his beloved. At the outset, the monsoon was the pretext for your inaction, but now, the rains are long gone. Why are you procrastinating? Don't you remember how swiftly Lord Rama killed Bali and saved your life? Has overindulgence in sensual pleasures made your mind dull? Don't you know who Lord Rama is? It is for your own good that I suggest you seek refuge in Lord Rama and beg for forgiveness for the indefinite delay. Lord Rama is very kind, he will definitely forgive you. Ungratefulness is greater than the greatest of vices. My dear king, get rid of ungratefulness and embrace lasting prosperity. Hanuman's speech invoked the spirit of dedication and compassion in Sugriva, and he got over his inertia within moments. He was ready to do his best. In no time, Sugriva deployed his soldiers and gave the necessary orders. Soon, monkeys began to pour into Kishkinda in millions. A search operation was underway. Silent gratitude develops into audible commitment when the happiness of getting a favor is replaced by the desire to return it. Consistency in commitment is easy when the depth of gratitude is high. A trustworthy hero. The eagle panicked for a moment seeing what it saw below. A new sea. How could a new sea appear overnight? Puzzled, the eagle dived in to test the waters. Soon, it panicked. It was not a sea, it was an army. Every color, every size and every form could be seen. The numbers were so huge that one could easily mistake it for a swirling ocean, if seen from way above. This was the monkey army of Sugriva, the king of Kishkinda. His brother had left behind a kingdom much bigger than what any monkey could comprehend. This army was the factual proof of that. As soon as a high command had been issued from the land of Kishkinda, these millions of monkeys from across the world had poured in overnight. Sugriva, the new king, deftly divided the army into 4 parts, appointing a leader for each segment. Each division was assigned an area in order to carry out the operation. The search for Sita began with great enthusiasm. Each party had been given a few ornaments in order to convince her about their genuinity. Of the 4 divisions, the segment which had Angada as the leader comprised other stalwarts including the wise Jambavan and the hero Hanuman. With these 3 mighty supermen in the team, it was quite obvious that their best bet was the southern direction which they were assigned. Though Lord Rama had greeted and thanked everybody in advance for their efforts, he personally chose to meet only Hanuman. This was an epic moment for Hanuman. When he heard that Lord Rama wanted to meet in private, he couldn't believe it. For the last 4 months, from the time he had made the stupid, yet inadvertent, mistake of declaring himself to be Sugriva's servant, Lord Rama had withdrawn from him with a sense of disappointment. He had desperately tried his best to please the Lord with his behavior and actions. But, all that didn't seem to have the desired effect on the Lord. However, this call was a confirmation that it did have a subtle effect. Hanuman realized that nothing he did ever went unnoticed by Lord Rama. With great joy in his heart, Hanuman rushed to meet his lord. Rama was seated on a rock, peering at something which he held in his hands. Though Hanuman couldn't see what he was holding from his vantage point, he quickly realized that whatever it was, it had to be something Lord Rama's life revolved around. When Hanuman kneeled down, next to the Lord, he said something that remained etched in his heart. Hanuman, I have great confidence in your abilities. If there is anyone who can find Sita, it is you. Therefore, I am giving you a ring that symbolizes our eternal bond, the Lord pleaded. Lord Rama then handed over the ring to Hanuman. This ring represents Sita's innocence, added Lord Rama. He narrated an incident that was known only to him and Sita. He said, one day, Sita was massaging my feet. Suddenly, she removed this ring from her finger and threw it on the floor. When I asked her the reason for this odd behavior, she said something that fascinated me. She said that the last time an ordinary granite stone touched your feet, it transformed into the most beautiful woman on earth. Ahalya, what if the diamond stone on this ring comes in contact with the same feet? She was sure that it would get transformed into a superlative form of beauty. She didn't want a competitor. She wanted no other source of distraction, more beautiful than her. It was then that Sita threw the stone ring away. By this time, Lord Rama had tears welling up in his eyes. He went on to describe how Sita had no idea what a forest looked like. She wasn't even able to comprehend where the city ended and where the forest began. He wondered how the innocent angel would survive in the land of crooked demons. Lord Rama then went on to describe the beauty of every limb of Sita to help Hanuman identify her. Lord Rama's description was so vivid that anyone could get completely bewitched by the charm of Sita. Though Hanuman was a celibate and had never seen a woman beyond her feet in his life, Lord Rama's description of his wife's beauty was immaculate. The premise of Lord Rama's revelation was trust. In the brief period of 4 months, Hanuman had won over the trust of Lord Rama. With this one act, Lord Rama had revealed to the world what spotless character meant and what is the end result of good education. According to Lord Rama, Hanuman was a person of integrity whom he could trust with anything and everything. Confidence doesn't necessarily mean completion of a task. Trust doesn't really mean accomplishment. Life is a struggle to find the truth. Chapter 3 will be continued.